So while there was some hope of de-escalation last week, at this point the war very much rages on in Ukraine. Moscow's war machine isn't slowing down. 410 civilian bodies were found in Kyiv, which has been and in a region that was retaken from the Russians. Ukraine has demanded crippling new sanctions on Russia from major Western powers over a massacre in the liberated town of Bucha, where 300 residents were killed by the Russian army. Russia, meanwhile, has denied Ukraine war crime allegations, calling it completely fake news. The Russian military also struck an oil processing plant and fuel depots around the strategic Black Sea port city of Odessa. As Putin's forces retreat from areas in northern Ukraine to neighboring Belarus, Ukrainian military said that its airborne forces have taken full control of the town of Pripyat, which is just outside the decommissioned Chernobyl nuclear power plant and the section of the border with Belarus. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, meanwhile, has accused Russian forces of committing genocide in Ukraine. Zelensky also said that citizens of Ukraine will not bow down to the policy of the Russian Federation. And India Today has been getting you all the updates from the ground, first-hand accounts of exactly what's happening. And here's what's played out in Bucha that shocked the entire world. The Russians have retreated, but bodies have piled up on the roads. This is from a Kyiv suburb, and these images are beyond horrifying. Gaurav Sawant and video journalist Lalit Joshi visited this particular city to witness the aftermath of the massacre. Viewer discretion is advised. It's very, very disturbing what's happened in Bucha.
The stench of rotting flesh, burnt bodies. This car, for example, as you can make out, an explosion took place very close by. There are shrapnel marks all over, and the shrapnel has also pierced the windscreen and killed those inside. A family, you can see bodies still inside this car after so many days. Devastated, lying on the road. A man, a woman, a child, and there are bodies that are also lying on the roadside, those who were killed in the shelling in this area. And this place in Bucha perhaps witnessed very bad, very intense fighting and shelling from both sides. Russia trying to move towards Kiev, the Ukrainian army trying to stall the advance, and the battlefield was here in Irpin and in Bucha. But today, finally, when agencies have come here after the Russians retreated towards Belarus and the Ukrainian forces have taken control of this area, it's only now that medical services are arriving here to retrieve these bodies, and there are a number of them lying on the roadside, in front of buildings, in ditches. The Ukrainian army says some of them have their hands tied behind them and they were killed in cold blood. Some others killed in shelling. With cameraman Lalit Mohan Joshi in Bucha, Ukraine, Gaurav Sawant for India Today. What is actually heartbreaking in these images, we'll just walk. They live here, they eat here, and they've had nowhere else to go. So bad is the situation that Tatya has just buried her child who was killed in shelling right here. And she broke down as she explained that to me, that the child must be very cold. Inside, so she made a cup of tea and she's put tea and her child's favorite chocolates on that grave that has been just dug here. And there are other graves that have been dug in this area after the shelling in Bucha. The situation here, extremely heartbreaking. The manner in which these people have survived close to 40 days of an intense Russian attack, and Ukraine armies fight back in this area. With cameraman Lalit Mohan Joshi in Bucha, Ukraine, Gaurav Sawant for India Today.
For the last 40 days now, people in Ukraine have been leaving their homes. They've been fleeing the war-torn nation and taking refuge in neighboring Poland. India Today's Moshmi Singh gets you this ground report.
Наша славна Україна зажурилася. Ми тую червону калину підіймемо. нашу славну Україну розвеселимо.
So that's the spirit. यही है यूक्रेन की वो spirit, संघर्ष की, बहादुरी की अलग मिसाल. ये सब बच्चे जो हैं वो खरसों से आए हैं जहाँ पे अभी भी लगातार युद्ध की स्थिति बनी है. मारिया है यहाँ पे, किरीव है. What's your brother's name?
Yaroslav.
Okay. Naughty brat. Having a lollipop. Lollipop.
Da.
Kiriv, where have you come from? And you miss school?
Yes. For class and some
Maria is saying
from
something. Maria.
We come from Kherson and from Nikolaev. The way was very difficult. Мы ехали очень долго, 4 суток заняла дорога. Ехали под обстрелами танков, под летящими истребителями над головой. Через блокпосты русских было очень тяжело, у детей огромный стресс. Но переехав границу через Одессу, нам очень помогли волонтеры, добрые люди, помогали с жильем, с едой. По дороге через Румынию, через Венгрию, Польшу. На всех границах нам люди старались как-то помочь. И с сим-картами, и со связью. В общем, огромное спасибо всем, кто помогает Украине, кто помогает нашим людям, нашим детям, нашим женщинам. Просто безмерно благодарны. Спасибо.
थैंक यू मारिया अपनी कहानी बताने के लिए. और यहाँ पे आप देखिए इस तरह से यहाँ पे जब ये पहुँचे तो इनको किताब and what do you have in your hand? Okay, cards and you like this place? You've come here?
yes,
You want to go back home?
yes, and
So there you are. Thank you for talking to us, and that's the story unfolding on ground zero. यही कहानी है यहाँ पे जहाँ छोटे छोटे बच्चे दूर यूक्रेन से आते हैं पर यहाँ पे वो अपनापन तलाश रहे हैं. और जब यहाँ पे लोग मिलते हैं जो उनको घर जैसे लगते हैं, परिवार जैसे लगते हैं, तो एक पूरा विश्व जो है एक बड़े फैमिली की तरह यहाँ पे उनका स्वागत करने के लिए, उनको अपना बनाने के लिए बैठा है. ये अपने आप में एक जीती जागती इंसानियत की मिसाल है. कैमरा पर्सन परमिंदर के साथ मौसमी सिंह. An exemplary example of how every drop really counts and every hand of help strengthens humanity. Here you can see that people from Ukraine are getting help here at the Wrocław railway station where all the information is being provided, pamphlets, brochures, information from the online information is being given. You can see some information on the information board, and that's a band of volunteers, a sea of volunteers at Wrocław who really made it count. You can see this is the volunteer center. We'll take you inside and show you how Yuri is one of the man in charge here, and also along with the band of women and men who are making it count. They've got a big huge smile on their faces. We just spoke to them, and here you can see a sea of help. Small things. If people leave their homes, they shouldn't feel lost. They shouldn't feel that they've left their homes and they are in a strange world. A home away from home. Let's look at it. You've got jackets and you've got banners. You've got strollers right there. Bags. Especially the entire help is focused on women and children. That's the key to the entire stretch of help that you can see here. Toys, especially for children who've left their toys, left their school, left their home, and left all their loved ones, perhaps their fathers, back in Ukraine. Poland has really opened a gate of help with cities after cities, helping the people who are actually away from home, and importantly, Wrocław scripting history with the refugees when they come. This is the kind of extent of planning that's gone into it, sweets, and this is also your home, a home away from home, just making them feel special, making them feel that they do belong somewhere and there are people who are concerned and worried for you. That's the picture that you see at the Wrocław railway station, and this is not the only city in Poland. That's one reason that Poland has become one of the biggest examples as far as, you know, giving shelter to refugees from Ukraine is concerned. An entire influx serving as a transit gate, serving as a huge shelter for the homeless who have been torn and ravaged by this war. With video journalist Parminder Sharma, this is Mosmi Singh in Wrocław, Poland for India Today.
Let's get to all the updates coming in from Pakistan. The political crisis continuing to aggravate after the dissolution of the National Assembly on Sunday. The Pakistan Supreme Court will continue to hear this matter for the second day. On Sunday, the Pakistan Supreme Court ordered the government to maintain public order to tighten security. Pakistan's judiciary also appealed to all political parties to ensure that there's peace on the ground. It also barred all state institutions from taking any extra constitutional steps in the wake of this unusual turn of events. What that essentially means is that they've said no emergency can be imposed or any such step can't be taken. According to a statement by the Pakistan government, Imran Khan is no longer the Prime Minister. 2 petitions have been filed against the dissolution of the National Assembly, one by the opposition, the other by the Pakistan Supreme Court Bar Association. Now, the opposition has demanded action against the Prime Minister and the Speaker for violating their constitutional rights. The second petition says that the Speaker's move is illegal as the resolution to hold a trust vote was already taken on March 28th. So a lot of dramatic developments that have been happening in Pakistan. In case you missed out on all the action yesterday, there was a rapid turn of events as Imran Khan asked the president to dissolve the National Assembly and announced fresh elections after the last-minute dismissal of the no trust motion. However, he's not the Prime Minister anymore.
25 मार्च 2022 को तलब करदा इजलास इसके काम के इख्तिताम को बाज़रिया हाज़िर बर्खास्त करता हूं.
Dramatic twist in Pakistan's political power game. Chaos breaks out after Imran Khan's bouncer. Pakistan Prime Minister losing numbers, staring at certain defeat and ouster from power. Decided to cling on to power via back door. Imran dramatically called for dissolution of parliament and fresh polls. Moments after the speaker dropped a bombshell and rejected the no trust motion.
25 मार्च 2022 को तलब करदा इजलास इसके काम के इख्तिताम को बाज़रिया हाज़िर बर्खास्त करता हूं.
Imran Khan called for fresh elections after no confidence motion against him was rejected in the National Assembly.
अल्लाह इस कौम के ऊपर देख रहा है. 27 रमज़ान को ये पाकिस्तान वजूद में आया था. ये इस तरह की साजिश इंशाअल्लाह ये कौम कामयाब नहीं होने देगी. मैं आज अपनी सारी कौम को मुबारक देना चाहता हूँ कि नेशनल असेंबली के हमारे स्पीकर ने मुस्तरद किया, रिजेक्ट किया एक वो मूव रिजीम चेंज की जो कोशिश की गई थी पाकिस्तान के 22 करोड़ अवाम में. एक बाहर से प्लान किया हुआ नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन जिसके पीछे एक फॉरेन एजेंडा था और जो आज स्पीकर ने उसको जो रिजेक्ट किया है और ये नो कॉन्फिडेंस को जो रिजेक्ट किया, मैं सारी कौम को आज मुबारक देता हूँ. तो जो स्पीकर ने आज जो अपनी अथॉरिटी, अपनी जो पावर, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल पावर यूज़ करके जो फैसला किया है, अब इसके बाद मैंने अभी से प्रेसिडेंट साहब को वो भेज दिया है, एडवाइस भेज दी है कि असेंबलियां डिसॉल्व करें. एक डेमोक्रेटिक सोसाइटी में हम डेमोक्रेट्स अवाम के पास जाएं, अवाम से इलेक्शंस हो, अवाम फैसला करे कि वो किसको चाहती है.
Before Imran-backed Deputy Speaker Qasim Suri nullified the motion and termed it against the constitution.
We're at the parliament right now, and the opposition is holding its own session after the deputy speaker adjourned the session till an indefinite period and rejected the no trust motion against Prime Minister Imran Khan. The opposition held voting on the no trust motion during this session of its own, and the no trust motion has passed with 195 members voting in favor of it. This is of course not official because this is just an informal session of the opposition, and we are waiting to hear from them about the future strategy that they're going to adopt.
The Prime Minister's close aide and INB Minister Fawad Chaudhry cried foul play and claimed foreign conspiracy to topple the government.
7 मार्च को यह बताया जाता है अदम एतमाद उस वक्त तक पाकिस्तान में नहीं आती, 8 मार्च को आती है। इस वक्त तक पाकिस्तान में भी किसी को नहीं पता अदम एतमाद है। हमारे एसपी साहब को बताया जाता है कि पाकिस्तान से आपके हमारे ताल्लुकात का दारोमदार इस अदम एतमाद की कामयाबी पर है। एक इफेक्टिव ऑपरेशन है जनाब स्पीकर regime change का by a foreign government.
Khan sent a proposal to President Arif Alvi to dissolve the assembly, essentially making way for early elections to be held in Pakistan. The president soon obliged. After the unexpected move in the National Assembly, opposition staged protest inside the House, conducted its own session, staying adamant on ousting Imran. A jubilant PTI tweeted images of a smug Imran Khan in all smiles after the trust vote stunner. Imran has decided to stay on as the Prime Minister in a caretaker role before polls. The opposition says it is just a facade to destroy democracy and stay on in power despite lacking numbers. Who will have the last laugh in the Pakistan political quagmire? With Alia Zehra in Islamabad, Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's also get you the details of what's happening with our other neighbour, Sri Lanka. There's no end to the economic hardships that they're facing. Power cuts, fuel shortage, widespread protests have brought this island nation on its knees. Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa met with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa amid this ongoing crisis. Speculations were rife that the cabinet of ministers were likely to resign after the crucial meet, but the government released a statement referring to all of this as just rumours. Social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, even WhatsApp is shut across Sri Lanka after a curfew is imposed on Monday, barring public movement in most places. After years of financial hardships, the country is marred by massive devaluation of currency and depletion of foreign reserves. The country's debt has risen now to $4 billion, including $1 billion international sovereign bonds. Security has been beefed up in Colombo. As you see on your screens there, there's unrest that's growing over repeated power cuts. The Sri Lankan government has declared damages worth 39 million rupees as protests intensified, leading to widespread vandalism of public property as well.